Anifan97203 here. So we're back after a long hiatus, which I will explain in another video that will be uploaded just after this one. That will be a little channel update, but I'm not going to get into that with this one. This one is my I'm back, what's up video. So as you'll see in the channel update video, I do want to make some more videos about theories that involve things that either are seen as issues in Fallout or that are overlooked in Fallout. Just generally things that the community does not have the most positive opinion of, if they've noticed it at all. And as you can tell, this one has to do with mass destruction weapons in Fallout 3. I will discuss what some of those are later on in just a little bit here. But we'll be doing some more in the future. I'll talk more about that in the next video. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. As you can see on the screen, we've got the bomb that is in the center of the town of Megaton. Now, ignoring the dangers that come with building a town around a bomb, I feel like this isn't here so much to be something that the player goes, oh, that was a smart decision, as it is to help point out a theme. And now it's a theme that is not heavily implied throughout the game. It is, if you look at the overarching picture and you compare it to other games, the theme is obvious, and it slaps you right in the face. But on its own, most players won't notice it. You see, most players, when they go through Fallout, they're going to do a number of the side quests, and they're going to find a number of the places. But in Fallout 3, the game doesn't instruct you to go all that many places. There's most of the map that's just kind of like, if you go there and you find stuff, that's awesome, but you probably won't. I know people who have no idea what Fort Independence is, even though they've played Fallout 3 numerous times. I know people who they still haven't found Oasis. They've heard about it. They know it's cool. They think it's a neat place. They have no idea where it is. Absolutely no idea. I know there's some people who they've completely missed out on Fort Constantine. Fort Constantinople, you see, because they gave the keys to Crowley. And, you know, that's what the quest says to do, guys. Guys, you gotta do what the quest says. Guys, do the quest. Give him the keys. The quest says give him the keys. I'm not going to say it's the fault of the player. It's not. That might be the fault of Bethesda, their design philosophy with the game. It's a design philosophy that I really like, and I wish would come back more, because it was a design philosophy that essentially said, you're going to miss out on a lot of content if you don't explore, if you don't ask questions, if you don't play each character in a way that says, I want to know the full picture before I make my decisions, then you miss out on a lot. That's the way I like to play the Fallout games, so I really enjoy that design philosophy. It's my opinion. A lot of people won't like that, and that's alright. But one of the things that people miss out on is weapons of mass destruction. A lot of people, you know, you'll get your Fat Man when you do the GNR quest line. You will likely interact with the Megaton bomb early on in the game. You know, you go to Megaton with your first quest, and then after that, you probably will end up dealing with the Megaton bomb not long after, you know, because you're at that point, you're either going to be like, you know, I think I'm going to go with a good character or a bad character. You're going to defuse the bomb, or you're going to make it go boom. You'll get your first player home. There you go. Within your first few hours of the game, you got your own house, and you've made your first major moral decision. And beyond those two weapons, a bomb that everyone thought was a dud and a shoulder-mounted nuke launcher, you don't get to see many other weapons of mass destruction if you follow the main path. Now, if you download the DLC, you do gain access to the laser cannon, the death ray on the alien spaceship, which you can shoot at Earth. You do also gain access through Broken Steel in the Adams Air Force Base to be able to launch their nuclear warheads from the satellite, and you can launch that at a number of places. But beyond that, there are other weapons of mass destruction. And there are other instances in which it is implied that your decisions have done some serious damage that people don't pick up on. Such as the beginning of Broken Steel. If you were to take the good ending and not poison the water supply with President Eden's special anti-FEV components and mixture and whatnot, then the water is pure and everyone is happy. Yay. But you don't have to pick that option. You see, you can very easily, very legitimately, and just in general with no downsides to you, no major downsides really to you, you can take the route and do what President Eden had told you to do, and you can poison the water supply. And although Fallout 3 may not show it off in the way that I would like, you've poisoned the water supply in a way such that everyone will start to drop dead soon after. It's not something to be taken lightly. I mean, you have to keep in mind that it's supposed to kill anything that's mutated or irradiated. That's everyone living in the wasteland aside from the Enclave, though even some of their ground troops would be getting irradiated at this point. And maybe some lucky vault dwellers depending on the choices you make involving Vault 101, though the other vaults are already screwed, so it doesn't matter for them. Everyone else in the wasteland is likely going to end up either getting ill because of this, which in a hellhole post-apocalypse, getting ill is a big deal. It can cause some major issues, or it might just straight up kill them. Obviously, it's not a nuclear attack, but that is one hell of an attack, nonetheless. And to go back on the nuclear side of things, well, some people may not know this, and hopefully some of you will have known this. If not, I would most definitely recommend that you check it out. Up by Raven Rock, the northwest side of the map, you can find 3 different satellite towers. Satellite relays, I think they call them. Each of these towers has its own interesting things going on, and each of them is worth visiting for their own reasons. I would most definitely recommend that you look at them late game after the Enclave has shown up. First of all, because there are a lot of very tough enemies around there. You'll find Deathclaws, giant rad scorpions, Yaoguai, all sorts of big bad stuff. And second of all, because one of the towers can be taken over by the Enclave, and once it is, it paints a more interesting picture, and is also really, really fucked up. So that's cool. But one of the towers, which is full of raiders, you see this tower has the ability to call in a nuclear strike. Now, you can't pick the target. The target is just set as a few specific locations really close to the tower itself. So when you leave the tower, you can see the nuke strike. It's a neat little thing. But you can still call in another nuke strike. I mean, these are ballistic nukes, the ballistic warhead kind of thing, That's not a joke. And if there are NPCs, enemies, companions, anything like that down there, when those impact the ground, they will die. Well, you say, okay, so there's one of them that we might have missed, other than the DLC. That's not a big deal. Okay, well, there's also, extremely importantly, I know, the ability in Fort Constantine to try to use a ballistic missile with a nuclear warhead tip. You can't use it, but you can try. I had mentioned that some people completely miss out on it. They don't know it's there. Out of the people who know it's there, most of them end up going through with all the keys and thinking it's just there to get a really cool, unique suit of power armor. That's not all. Of course, the power armor is in there, and there's plenty of goodies, and it's a cool place to go, and I would recommend everyone try and do the you gotta shoot them in the head quest line and keep the keys. Not necessarily the easiest thing to do, but shouldn't be too difficult either. If you want to play a pacifist character, it's going to be a little bit harder. You're going to have to get some good speech checks. You have to have good charisma for this. But it can be done. Nonetheless, no matter how you go about doing it, if you get into Fort Constantine, it's not just about the power armor. And that's so annoying that people miss it. You have the codes, you can find the codes, you can find the terminal to try and launch this missile. And people miss out on all this stuff, and it's annoying, and it annoys me, it does. But that's totally beside the point. What I'm trying to get at is Fallout 3 filled itself with a bunch of weapons of mass destruction. Now, you could say, well, that just fits with the Fallout series, you know? They got the nukes, they got all sorts of different, got the FEV, like, oh, the game series is just trying to kill people. It's alright. But I disagree. I'm going to disregard Fallout 1 and 2 for the most part here, as I'm not the most knowledgeable on those, we'll say. I know what I need to know for the most part, but I'm not going to get in depth about those two too much, because those aren't my area of expertise in the Fallout series, we'll say. Fallout New Vegas focuses a lot of its time on the warring factions. It sets up a lot of very gray moral ideas between the NCR and the Legion and an independent New Vegas and Mr. House, and it certainly sets in motion a very interesting story that I quite enjoy. But it doesn't focus on the death and destruction anymore. It really focuses on rebuilding, and it focuses on which tribe is going to come out on top. Because when it comes down to it, these are all tribes that have gained power. The Khans, the NCR, Caesar's Legion, the Strip, all of it were at one point just tribes. So it's not so much focusing on death and destruction as it is who should be in charge of rebuilding. And Fallout 4 ignores that altogether and just focuses solely on having hope for the future. And although it does have the same faction thing going on, it's not to the same extent. But both of those really do focus on the future of the wasteland, and Fallout 4 especially can have, both of these games can have very hopeful tones. Fallout 3 doesn't have that. See, Fallout 3, due to both the theme of loneliness, which I would like to touch on in a later video, and these weapons of mass destruction and the focus on death and devastation, the game feels hopeless. The Capital Wasteland doesn't seem like a busy place where people are rebuilding and growing new societies. It seems like a hole that's just filling over and over again with blood and rubble. It's a ditch in the side of the road that you ignore because you know that all the little rats that are fighting in there, they're just going to continue fighting with each other. That's all that will ever happen. It's a place that seems as though no matter how hard they try, they're never truly going to be able to succeed. Because even when you get the best of endings, and you've gotten Broken Steel, and you did everything in the game, and you did it all with good karma, saving everyone you could, you reach a point where the wasteland still feels dead, and feels hopeless. And these weapons of mass destruction really add to that. They become something that you don't expect to see in shanty towns and in the piles of rubble that you find everywhere, but they're there. They're deadly. They can be used, and you can kill people with them. The Broken Steel add-on, your Adams Air Force Base nukes, your atomic bomb in the middle of Megaton, those all directly wipe out populations, depending on exactly which choices you make, of course. And Fort Constantine, well, if you were able to get that working, you can't, but if that ballistic missile still worked, that most definitely would also be able to wipe out a lot of people with a single shot, such as we see in the New Vegas DLC, where they tap into more of the Fallout 3 tones and themes, in which we see the divide. Whenever these weapons of mass destruction are bought back, we just see people in a cycle of destruction. It's interesting, I think, that Fallout 76 brings the ability to launch your own nukes That's just one big old cycle. I don't think that was as intentional as it was in Fallout 3 and in the Lonesome Road, or even Old World Blues, but it is an interesting point to make that whenever Fallout begins to play with its biggest, loudest, most dangerous toys, the people in the wasteland are forced to suffer more and more and more. The only times that a player can ever truly make everyone in the wasteland feel safer and can ever truly realize that is when the player is actively trying to stop the use of these weapons and is making sure that these kind of things aren't happening. Such as Fallout 4 stopping the synth epidemic from becoming a problem, from them becoming a new, much more covert version of a bomb. Or Fallout 3, when you disarm the bomb in Megaton and save all of their lives. Or Fallout New Vegas, if you were to take away Helios 1. If you were to decide this will not be used, I will not tell the NCR how to use it. There's a lot of chances in the Fallout universe for humanity to continue to hit the reset button as many times as it damn well pleases. And the other games don't touch on this as much as I'd like. Because when it comes down to it, the whole reason we can feel joy in rebuilding is because we're able to move past the urges to continue to use violence against each other in a world full of the most dangerous things imaginable and most dangerous tools imaginable. That's why when in Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4, when you actually make progress and you notice it, it feels good. When you hear, Three Dog on the radio telling you that, hey, this kid, he saved Megaton, he's pretty cool, the bomb was deep sixed and whatnot. It's nice to know that, because you know that you stopped an alternative where the cycle just continues. A heroic character in Fallout 3, the morally good character, is the one who ends up making a bunch of changes to the wasteland for the better. A morally bad character, I wouldn't say changes the wasteland in any notable way. They don't leave a mark. They don't matter to the wasteland because they are just continuing on a legacy that people have been following since the Great War. That's what I think Fallout 3 is really about. That's what I think makes it such a good game, in my opinion at least. When you're able to capture this feeling of almost hopelessness at all times and really hammer it home with the use of unimaginable power. That's when I feel Fallout 3 truly shines. But that's just my thought. Have you guys been to these locations? What do you guys know about them? Have you guys gone through and seen the effects of all your different choices involving these weapons? If you guys think of some other reason as to why they're there, other than, of course, just we want to add these in because they're cool. So that's probably part of the reason Bethesda put them in. But if you guys have some other theory as to why these might be in there, or you have some other thoughts involving them, feel free to comment down below. I would absolutely love to hear about it. Other than that, that's pretty much all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll hope to see you next time. Goodbye.